Hello, my dear students. Hope you have already observed my videos which are on different subjects. And here in this video, I'd like to discuss about the Memorandum of Association. As you know very well, while forming the company, there are many documents which are to be prepared by the promoters. So one among those documents is Memorandum of Association. It is considered as the constitution of companies. Memorandum of Association is the most important document of a company. It states the objects for which the company is formed. It contains the rights, privileges, and powers of the company. It determines the relationship between the company and the outsiders. So this introduction tells you about the importance of the Memorandum of Association and what type of importance we have to give for this document. Memorandum of Association of a company is the charter, and it defines the limitation of the power of the company established under the Act. It is mandatory for registering a company. That means it's compulsorily to be prepared. Without preparing the Memorandum of Association, you cannot register the company. So if anybody asks you which is the document without which company cannot be started, then the answer is Memorandum of Association. Company cannot undertake any business or activity not stated in the memorandum. So memorandum means it is just like the boundary of the company. It is one of the documents which have to be filed with the registrar at the time of registration of company. It is a basic document by which company's boundaries will be decided. What are the so it tells you about the relationship between the company and outside the world, outsiders, creditors, bankers, financiers, government, taxing authority, etc. All these outsiders are related to the company, but they are outsiders. So Memorandum of Association describes you how company has to behave with them, and how is the relationship between the company and its outsiders. Memorandum of Association is one of the documents which have to be filed with the registrar, as I have already mentioned. It's very, very important. So come friends, let us go for the definition of a Memorandum of Association. Let us first look into the definition given by L.J. Brown. He defines memorandum contains the fundamental conditions upon which alone the company is allowed to be incorporated. They are conditions introduced for the benefits of the creditors and outside public as well as the shareholders. Under section 2, subsection 28, Companies Act 1956 defines memorandum like this. Memorandum means memorandum of association of a company as originally framed or as altered from time to time in pursuance of any previous company law or of this act. So this is the definition given by the Companies Act under section 2, subsection 28. According to Lord Keynes, so as the definition given by the Companies Act, we cannot understand much about the memorandum. So we have to refer the definition given by Lord Cairns. Memorandum is the document which sets out the constitution of the company and defines the scope of its activities. So now let us go for the contents. What are the contents of the Memorandum of Association? Memorandum of Association contains 6 clauses. What are these 6 clauses? First clause is name, then domicile clause, objectives clause, liability clause, and capital clause. And sixth and final one is subscription clause. So come friends, let us understand one after the other. What is this name clause? Name clause, the title itself tells you that it contains the name of the company. What is the name of the company? That means the name of the company should be stated in this clause. Company is free to select any name it likes. But at the same time, it should take care of certain things. That is, the name should not be identical or similar to that of the company already registered. For example, we are having Tata company, isn't it? If you keep the same name, it is objected. You cannot keep the same name. Or if you keep the similar name, that is like Dada or something like that, which is just similar to the earlier one, then it is objected. You cannot keep the identical name. If it is a public limited company, name should be ended with the word limited. Okay. If it is a private limited company, then a name should be ended with the word private and also limited. It is the rule. And no company can be registered by a name which is the opinion of the central government is undesirable under section 20. A name is deemed undesirable when the name of the company includes words like government or state, municipality. These are all the words which indicate that they belong to the government. So that kind of word should not be there in your name. Under section 147, it lays down, every company shall point or affix its name on the outside of every office or the place of business. Then what is domicile clause? First clause is name and second clause is domicile. Domicile or address. Domicile means whereabouts or address. Domicile clause contains name of the state where the company's registered office is located. That means whether it is there, if suppose you are starting a company in Hyderabad, then the state is Andhra Pradesh. In the same way, if you are starting the company in Hubli or Dharwad or Bangalore, then the state is Karnataka. So you have to mention the state in which you are locating. The company should intimate the location of registered office to the registrar within 30 days from the date of incorporation or commencement of business. The registered office of a company can be shifted from one place to another within the town with a simple intimation to the registrar. It should be intimated. It should be informed to the registrar. Then the registered office is important for 2 reasons. It ascertains the domicile and nationality of the company, whether it is a Indian company or if it is a foreign company, then the nation in which you are incorporated tells you about the things. It shows the place where the various registers, documents, papers, etc. relating to the company must be kept. And to communication and notices must be sent. That is the address. That is called as address. And what are the objects? Why your company is being started? This clause specifies the objects for which the company is formed, aims. It is difficult to alter the objects clause later on. So first you have to think about it and decide what all the objectives or what all the aims you are having to achieve. This clause mentions all possible types of business in which a company may engage in future. The objects clause must contain the important objectives of the company and the other objectives not included above. This clause defines the scope and limitations of the activities of the company. Objects must be legal, not be immoral, not be contrary to the provisions of any law. So that must be the case. And this objects clause, this is the third clause. First clause is name clause, second one is domicile clause, and third one is object clause. So in this objects clause, what all the things discussed? That is, it defines and confines the scope of the activities of the company. It also determines the extent of the powers and the authority which the company can exercise to achieve its objectives. The following points should be noted while drafting the objects clause of the company. That is, the objects of the company must be legal. It must not be against the provisions of the Companies Act. They must not be against the public policy or general law. They must be stated clearly and definitely to avoid ambiguity, that is confusion. The objects of the company must be that is legal. They must not be against the provisions of the Companies Act. They must not be against the public policy. They must be stated clearly. They must be sufficiently elaborate. Then let us go for the next clause, that is liability clause. What do you mean by liability? Liability means responsibility, isn't it? So liability clause means the clause states the liability of the members of the company. Liability may be limited or unlimited. If it is limited, it may be limited by shares or limited by guarantee. This clause may be omitted in case of unlimited company. If the company itself is unlimited, then there is no meaning in having this clause. Only for those companies which are limited, then we have to include this clause. Then we have to mention here whether the limitation, that is liability, is limited by guarantee or limited by shares. Next clause is about the capital clause. This clause mentions the maximum amount of capital that can be raised by the company. And the division of capital into shares is also mentioned in this clause. That is, what is authorized capital, what is issued capital, what is subscribed capital, what is issued capital, then what is called up capital, what is paid up capital. All this classification are to be mentioned. The company cannot secure more capital than mentioned in this clause. So while taking the permission itself, we should take more, that is maximum capital it is called, because afterwards it cannot be expanded. So nominal capital or the authorized capital should be maximum. That may or may not be collected by the company, but while taking the permission, better to take for the maximum capital. Then comes the association clause. What is this association? What do you mean by subscription? It contains the names and address of the first subscribers. The subscribers to the memorandum must take at least one share. It contains the names and address of the first subscribers. The subscribers to the memorandum must take at least one share. The minimum number of members is 2 in case of private company, 7 in case of public company. So it is called as subscription clause or association clause. This is the last clause in the memorandum. The association clause reads as, we the several persons whose names and address are subscribed are desirous of being formed into a company in pursuance of this memorandum of association, and we respectively agree to take the number of shares in the capital of the company set opposite our respectively names. So this is how it is going to be drafted. So I hope you have understood what is memorandum of association, how important document it is, and what are the clauses. So totally there are 6 clauses: name clause, domicile clause, objectives clause, liability clause, capital clause, and subscription or association or subscription clause. These are 6 clauses, and I have explained you. And in my next video, I'm going to tell you how these clauses can be altered, whether it is possible to alter the memorandum of association. If it is so, how it can be altered. So let us understand about it. And I wish you all the success in the examination. And dear students, don't fail to watch my videos and give me the feedback.